and gentlemen of the world, the Sons of Serizawa podcast is crawling out of the primordial depths of February of 2018 to return to you, the good people of YouTube, who have continued to follow us through what will, in many months, but this year, be a 5-year-old podcast called the Sons of Serizawa podcast. Joining me, as they often have, for this ever-crawling saga, David Joshua Hernandez. He calls himself Gorzard. He calls himself that. Let's just be clear about that.
I'm a bit disappointed when I found out that Jesse Jackson is not the emperor of black people.
And we always can count on him to start things off by saying something like that. Dylan McCandless, Super DM 64, he also calls himself that.
I don't. But I am here, back by no demand.
There was some limited demand. Andres Perez, Kaiju Noir, he has also crawled here.
Hello, people of the internet.
Oh, hi, Sparkles.
He's a little out of it tonight. He's a little tired. But Andres Perez, a.k.a. Kaiju Noir, he is a wily, energetic, and reliable man. And I think we can rely on him to deliver to us some vague news. Andres, are you going to may or may not make us care about stuff tonight?
Yes.
All right.
Always.
So what are we going to try to care about on this inaugural episode of what is essentially, I guess it would be, because the last one was season 4, so this would be season 5 of the Sons of Serizawa podcast. So we're going to do all news this week. So Andres is tired and not feeling good, so hopefully this will go well. We're going to try to inject some energy into him via Skype, which will, given Skype's reliability, that'll probably not work, but we'll try our best.
Andres is not sparkling like he usually is.
But because we've been on hiatus, there's a lot of stuff we got to catch up on, and Andres Perez is the keeper of all vague news, so we have to rely on him to walk us through it. So like I said, we're gonna do our best to inject energy into him, but like I said, we definitely understand that things are a little low key. So Andres, what's our first piece of news tonight?
Okay, the first piece of news is the most recent that I was able to uncover, and that was 9 years ago. The people behind the 80s action movie love letter short film Kung Fury announced that they would be making a sequel, and that Kung Fury 2 will begin shooting sometime this summer. And to celebrate the announcement, they showed off a piece of concept art that they also plan to reveal at a Berlin film festival that was made by, what was his name? A artist by the name of Ivan Rice. And so I'm just going to take the link and send it to you guys just to show you what we may have in store for Kung Fury 2.
So this started 9 years ago, this whole project.
No.
Oh, why did you say go then? What happened 9 years ago?
I never said 9 years ago.
Oh, I thought
you did.
It sounded like you did.
Okay.
No, it's all good. I was just.
No, Andres fell through a time loop.
No, but let me just take a look at this here. So, well, first of all, I see a T-Rex, so that's definitely a big promise that returns from the last one. But how long has it been since the first one came out? That was 2015? No?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 years.
So wow, it's been like a proper turnaround for a sequel, I guess. A little extended.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it's 2 years. But this is this
the original Kung Fury Kickstarter, because this was actually crowdfunded.
Right, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Before it became a big thing. So it was actually created, the Kickstarter campaign started in 2013, so 2 years prior, and they were asking for $200,000, and over 17,000 backers provided $630,019. So they were to make So they were able to make 3 times the money they were asking for.
Right. I mean, this was one of the success stories that made all the crazy people that we usually talk about try their shit. At least partially, probably not all of them, but this was the big success story. This is the one that you could watch this on Netflix. So this one is definitely kind of the bar. So how are they going to release the sequel? Is it going to be the same as the first one, just right to YouTube right away, or will it be a little more?
There is no announcement, no details regarding the release. All that we know is that they were going to have the news surrounding the casting and other team members coming soon in the weeks to come.
Oh yeah, the first thing I notice about this piece of fan art here is a great Teen Wolf reference down here in the corner. Loving all of that.
In the left corner?
Yeah.
Is that specifically a reference to Teen Wolf?
I assume so, because it looks like they're wearing like high school jackets.
It does. I wonder what the context of that really is, because there's a couple of them. There's like two on the. They're also on the left, but they're more in the background by the T-Rex. Very Jurassic Park looking T-Rex. There was a T-Rex in the first one. It's been so long since I've seen that.
Yes, there was a T-Rex.
Okay, it didn't look as Jurassic Parky as this one though. That's really striking out to me. But we have some Viking dudes in the background. I wonder who the villain of this one is. How do you top martial arts performing Hitler? I mean, that's kind of hard.
Well, according to the artwork, Hitler might be the Kung Führer himself might be making a return.
Yes, because if I remember correctly, Hitler didn't get destroyed in the first Kung Fury, right? He got away.
Right. He time traveled Terminator style.
So what we're looking at here is clearly an epic trilogy of Kung Fury versus Kung Fury.
One very sassy cop stopping Hitler from conquering time.
Now, it has also been a while since I watched.
Just like the Terminators.
It has also been a while since I watched the first Kung Fury. Is that Odin in that corner over there specifically? Or no, was it Thor?
It looks like a vague warrior of some kind.
Yeah, it looks like a vague Viking. I am impressed by the giant, like, Aztec or Mayan Daimajin stone golem.
It is very Daimajin looking. That's cool.
Because I remember there was a moment in the first one where they met Odin, or maybe it was Thor, and then
it was Thor.
Oh, it was Thor.
It was Thor. That's right. And they talked about his epic pecs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But there was like a very old Thor. It was weird. Maybe Thor has become Odin at that point because he's very old in that.
Well, it's not like Marvel Thor. It's like actual Thor.
I understand that, but I'm just
so
saying
he would be
fucking
old as shit. Nah, that's what I'm saying.
Do they usually portray him as old in the in mythology?
I'm not sure, but I'm just saying if you consider the length of time that is spanned, you would imagine that if Thor were a real god, he wouldn't be looking.
I mean, I didn't know
these days.
I don't know. Do they age like normal people?
That's a good question.
I don't know if the creators of Kung Fury thought about this, but we certainly are.
They probably just knew that that was probably like the only buff dude they know who was willing to play that.
Exactly. So it's they were like, oh, we got a guy who we thought looked like Thor-ish.
We found a vaguely Nordic looking man,
yeah,
and we're gonna give him a hammer.
Exactly. So
and little else.
Whatever the rules are for the immortal beings in this universe, that guy did a good job, and he deserves another can of beer.
I mean, let's not forget that there were laser raptors running around at the time, so a lot of shit is in question here.
So you know what? Maybe he wasn't even old. Maybe his hair was just gray from stress.
Perhaps. Maybe it seems like a very stressful universe to live in.
So I just reread Jurassic Park, and if those raptors had access to lasers or were made of lasers, I mean, that situation would have been over so much more quickly, but would have been way more painful for everybody else involved. So
I don't know if laser raptors are made of lasers, but that's like the coolest sentence I've ever heard. So right. I'm gonna choose to believe that.
What if dinosaurs? You know, we can't clone dinosaurs. We can't go back in time and get them, but we can make them out of plasma, or like some kind of like, we can 3D print them or whatever, and that's how we get laser raptors.
Yes, first step, we rent a 3D printer. Then we print a 3D printer, return the original 3D printer.
Can you rent 3D printers? Is that a thing you can rent? I don't think they even let you, like, rent anything anymore. I think you have to buy everything. except
I don't
for
know.
film equipment.
I don't know. Just go along with the premise, all right? We rent a 3D printer. We print another 3D printer, and then return the original 3D printer. Then we begin 3D printing an army of Velociraptor robots with lasers.
Hey, you don't have to sell me on it. I'm there with you.
The
I
only
just
problem is we
need to
don't
know
have-
if we can rent 3D printers or not.
The only problem is we don't have a laser to make our robot dinosaurs shiny, so I don't know what we're going to do.
Right, and we don't have Kong to save us if it blows up in our faces and we almost die, and then we get a robot eye. Now, would each of us get our own robot eye, or would we have to split the robot eye?
Like the fucking sturgeon witches.
Yeah, that would.
I'm gonna go with everybody gets their own robot
Friendship
eye.
would really be stressed by that if we had to
I'm
share a robot eye.
I'm gonna go with everybody gets their own robot eye. I don't know how
that.
I don't know how the economics of sharing a robot eye would play out.
Right, but it would be a weird experiment that I would not want to perform. Anyway, so I'm definitely excited about this. I wonder if it's going to be longer.
I hope it
so.
could be. Yeah.
And I hope that
luckily-
there's a sequel song from David Hasselhoff. I hope the Hoff
I
comes back.
guarantee. Yeah, and I really fucking True Survivor is one of the best fucking 80s throwback things ever.
Oh yeah.
Maybe Kung Fury could time travel forward to the 90s, and then we could have a movie tie-in rap from Will Smith.
Yes. Oh my. I mean, you can't be Will Smith. It would have to be somebody who maybe is a little washed up. but like Will Smith is like in.
I don't think Ja Rule's doing anything.
Oh no.
Oh sure, there you go. Just someone to fill that role. Will definitely work well for that theme. I'm interested in the greater variety of animal-human hybrids. There's a shark man. There's a fucking eagle man who has weights in his arms, like he's working out and fighting at the same time, which is metal as fuck.
Who wouldn't?
I mean, if I were an eagle, I would definitely try to do that at the very least, and I would probably die. But everybody would be like, "Man, he went out in a really metal way." And then there's Pterodactyl Man, which is pretty cool.
Now, are these all things that are supposed to be in the sequel, or is this just shit that whoever drew this piece of fan art made up on the spot?
It's referred to as concept art, so I'm assuming this is going to be in the movie.
Ah, concept art. Okay.
So presumably then this is like a sequence?
That's much more exciting to me.
Probably.
You would hope that something like this is all happening at the same time, and then there's a bunch of other shit happening around this. You know, like it isn't like this is a little tease of every single action sequence in the movie simultaneously.
I gotta brush back up on my Kung Fury 1, but is the fucking Barbarella or whatever her name was, Barbariana?
Barbariana, yeah.
Is she on here? I don't see. Oh, there she is.
Yeah,
she's the one with the
there she is.
chain
Okay.
gun.
Okay.
She's got a fucking machine gun right out of Aliens.
Yeah, that's right. There she is, and then there's Hacker Man, and I think that was it, right? Just the four of them in the first one.
You forgot your favorite character, man.
Well, Triceracop. Of course, Triceracop.
He's in there. He's copping around. He's Triceracoping about.
That goes without saying, Andre.
Yeah.
If only we could pitch our Triceracop prequel movie that we conceived of that one time, Andre. So if we could pitch that to Laser, whatever their name is.
That's you got it. You nailed it. That's exactly what they call themselves.
Yes.
You can put that on a letterhead and it'll go right to their offices. I promise you.
There appears to be
try it tomorrow.
There appears to be some sort of Valkyrie of Norse mythology wielding a pink AK-47. I don't know.
I love everything about that sentence.
I thought she kind of resembled what was it, She-Ra?
Yeah, she does kind of look She-Ra-y as well. There is that
interesting adjective.
There is a She-Ra reboot coming to Netflix. Crossover?
Oh no.
Is He-Man gonna be in it, or is it gonna be like Supergirl and he'll be like off screen most of the time, and then they'll bring him in for like an episode?
That's a great question.
They'll have like He-Man be off screen and like it'd be like, I found She-Ra when she was an infant, and I brought her to a kindly old couple, and now they're raising her. But you only see him in like silhouette.
This is the problem with this whole idea. It makes no sense to do She-Ra before you do He-Man. It's like doing fucking Supergirl, but there's no Superman. Wait,
Yeah.
they did that, didn't they?
But he was there. He did everything he did off screen, and then she had a life, and then we just came into the life. I don't remember. I never watched the first episode. I just watched like the 6-minute trailer that they released, and I was like, this is too much for me already. I think he's off in space or something. He's not even around, so I know he comes in season 2 though, and apparently the guy they got is good. But anyway, I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm excited about this. I hope they go for a full 90 minutes, at the very least, or 80, whatever, just something near feature length.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least give me a full fucking half hour, because isn't the first one like 15 minutes or something, or was it a half hour?
No,
I
it's
think it
like
was a
near
half hour.
a half hour at the very least. Yeah,
Oh, okay, then at least push an hour. At least.
I would say so.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so moving onwards, for this piece of news comes from Japan, where we have
Our
a
favorite
manga
place.
artist by the name of Yusuke Murata. He is known as popular recently, especially recently, as the artist behind One Punch Man. It was announced that he is going to be working on a Back to the Future manga series.
An
Where,
adaptation.
An adaptation, yes. The Back to the Future screenwriter Bob Gale is going to be supervising the manga, and the artist plans to publish the first volume of the manga on April 20th, and that the manga will be based on the original 1985 film.
I feel like they're doing that because they can get away with the Marty and his mom have weird sexual chemistry in Japan a lot easier than they get away with it in America.
They can also get away. They can also get away with. They can also get away with like the weird mentorship thing between the young teenage boy and the elderly scientist. I feel like that flies easier in Japan as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is
Although
is a Back to the Future comic. I mean, we say all this. There is a Back to the Future comic currently at IDW right now. So.
And here's a preview of the Back to the Future manga, featuring not only characters from the first movie, but characters from the next 2 movies as well. You can
they're
see.
going to do the whole trilogy, obviously. Otherwise, they would be dumb.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How fascinating would it be if this inspired somebody to do like a fucking Rick and Morty manga adaptation?
Dude.
Oh my god, that would be insane. I would love it. But I mean, this looks awesome.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
This is great.
Good shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting kind of a. I'm getting
I
kind
want
of
other
an,
stuff.
getting kind of an Akira vibe from the way the DeLorean looks there. I like it.
Nice.
Other
Feeling
80s
that.
franchises they should bring back as mangas. Terminator.
Yes.
That could work, yeah.
Predator.
Yeah.
Alien. I think they've done an Alien manga, actually.
Probably. Who knows? Die Hard.
Last Action Hero. What? No, that's 90s. Die Hard would be a weird manga, because if you bring it to Japan, then it's like they're making themselves the bad guys.
No, what you do is you have an American cop who has to survive a terrorist attack in the middle of like a fucking anime like school for superheroes or something.
So
like you put
it's what is that?
take
What is
John
it? My
McClane.
Hero Academia.
you take
You
John
do a
McClane-
crossover between Die Hard and My Hero Academia.
You take John McClane and you put him in like a Kappa Mikey situation where he's just surrounded by fucking weird ass anime shit going on, and he's just like, I just want to go back to America and fucking eat food.
Drink a Bud Light. I feel like the next step for John McClane is like Zombie Apocalypse or some weird shit like that. Like they have to really just take it to the next step, or go back to the early days and do do something grittier, like that comic where he like stalks the son of Sam.
That's what I want, a fucking manga adaptation of The Evil Dead.
Oh, I can't believe that hasn't happened already. By the way, I don't watch Ash vs. the Evil Dead, but I'm really glad it exists.
I probably should, because it's on Netflix, the first 2 seasons.
It
It
looks insanely amazing.
I have no excuse not to watch it, other than that I just haven't. Also, there's this Altered Carbon thing that everybody keeps saying is really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks a little Blade Runner-y.
That's precisely why I'm interested.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Okay, so then moving on, guys, to another piece of preview art, we have our first look at the new new incarnation of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that will be coming soon, which will come out right after the 2012 series ends pretty soon.
Oh, that show's not even over yet.
Exactly, and yet they're already having plans to replace it.
They're already burying it.
It's like we're good.
It's not even like Power Rangers, where it's like, oh, it could still take place in the same universe. They're like, nope, done.
That's like fucking Dragon Ball Super. It's not even dead on the table yet, but they've already filled its time slot.
Did they do that with Super?
Yeah, that's the reason that it's being rushed to conclude now, is because they've got something else that they want to put in that time slot. So they were like, you've got, like, I think 131 is going to be the last episode. So they've basically got through March to finish their shit, and then
now it's gonna be all rushed and not as good as it probably would have been.
That problem has already started to rear its head.
Oh yeah, and the show is, I forgot, it's called Rise of the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. So it's gonna be like the beginning.
Sorry, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I mean, listen. So here's the thing, Ninja Turtles, ever since the 2003 show started and got really popular with our generation, every year they do something new with it because it sells merchandise. And they just do it because they have to reintroduce it to the next generation. So that 2012 show's been on for 6 years now. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of 5-year-olds who they can get into Ninja Turtles now with this shit.
It really never stopped. It really never stopped, Bill. I mean, from the 80s on, you had the original cartoon, and then you had the movies, and then you had the fucking weird musical.
There was a little gap between like the third movie and the 2000 show.
You had
I don't know if there was much.
You had the live action show, The Next Mutation.
Yeah, but that bombed really bad. So
and you had the fucking like weird like live action musical tours and shit.
That was before all that though. That was earlier in the 90s.
And then 2003 and fucking.
Since 2003, it has been nonstop though. There was a Ninja Turtles. There's definitely been a Ninja Turtles anime. I don't know if there's been a manga. But they should do that too. That would be cool. Because it started, not distinctly based solely on that, but even the things that it was more directly inspired by, like Daredevil, very inspired by manga art. So, this, on the other hand, listen, I checked out in Ninja Turtles after 03, so this is not really a big surprise. I hated the designs for the last show. When
the 2012?
Yeah, like
the CGI, okay.
I remember when that came out, and I was like, that doesn't look like my Ninja Turtles. But then apparently that show was fine.
Oh, yeah, it was. A lot of fans loved it.
Good for the last generation of kids, but I have my versions, and I will likely stick with those unless they do a really good, modern take that either throws back to that or combines that with other stuff.
I feel like I should be happy about this because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are going to be 2D animated again, and I'm all for 2D animation, especially on TV because TV CG animation still hasn't just quite gotten there, and also
we still haven't gotten beyond Jimmy Neutron.
And I also just don't want to see 2D fucking replaced like I know we're eventually heading to, but. So I feel like I should be happy about this, but this just looks like balls. It just this is actually the first time I've seen Master Splinter. What the fuck did they do to Master Splinter?
I think they got the guy who drew.
I didn't realize they revealed him.
I think they got the guy who drew Ren and Stimpy and had him draw him and have him make like the ugliest wrinkly face possible.
He doesn't even look like a fucking rat. He looks like a fucking dried up mouse fetus.
He looks old. I'll give him that. So the weirdest thing I remembered about this when it was announced was that Raphael was going to be like the oldest and the leader, and also that all of the turtles would be of different species.
Yeah.
So
they wouldn't be brothers.
So well, yeah, sure, but they've done that before anyway, where it's like they're not technically brothers or whatever. I understand that it's more about with the circumstances they were raised in after they were mutated, but that's not the problem. It's more that it's all there to just be different, And
Yeah.
it's just
I don't mind.
It's desperately grabbing you and just wanting you to know how different it is from every other version of the Ninja Turtles.
I don't mind them being different species. It kind of works as an explanation for why, because the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have always been like slightly different shades of green, and that's one of the ways you can tell them apart, aside from the fucking headbands that they wear. So that's retained, and I feel like they just did it though so that they could have Raphael look like the fucking linebacker turtles from the Michael Bay movies, so that they could have a shout out to the most recent live action version.
Right.
That's basically
that's exactly what his design is. That's true. I didn't think about that.
Because he basically just looks like one of those. Now, the other weird thing for me is the decision to change their weapons. I wouldn't be against new weapons if the old weapons were still present and like they had like secondary weapons or backup weapons or whatever, but they've changed them entirely, and I don't know. Raphael doesn't strike me as a Tonfa kind of guy.
Here's my theory.
I'm okay with giving Leonardo one big katana as opposed to the two smaller ninjato, because maybe that means he'll have like a sort of a samurai fighting style, and that could be cool. But like what even is that thing that Donatello has, and also what even is this thing that Michelangelo has? Like it's just
this
fucking
weird yo-yo.
It's just like a spike ball on a chain. Like
I think he's trying to pull off that one girl from the Kill Bill Volume 1.
Yeah, is he Go-Go Yubari all of a sudden? And the shitty thing is, if they changed one thing, they could have turned it into an actual ninja weapon. You put a fucking scythe blade on the other side of that thing, you got yourself a Kusarigama. But no,
funny enough, that's the Kusarigama. That's exactly what the 2012 Mikey has.
Does he?
Yeah.
They're all,
maybe they want to be different.
When you start with Raph, you think, oh, okay, they're trying to like sanitize it they're trying to make it more kid friendly. But then Donatello has like a weird point on the end of his bow staff, and you're like, all right, but he gets the pointy shit, but Raph doesn't get the pointy shit.
Yeah, I feel like what we're looking at is a sort of, because okay, I'm okay with Donnie having tech because he's always been sort of the smart one.
He looks
so
like
what
a
I think,
fucking robber. Fucking mask.
So what I think it is a staff that like turns into like a spear. Like I feel like those points are in the end are going to like extend out and become kind of like
what
a
is he, the fucking Predator?
Apparently. I mean, Raphael's got fucking lightsaber tonfas on the fucking poster. So.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And it also appears that Donatello's backpack turns into some sort of a flying moped device for Black April to ride on.
What is her weapon?
A baseball bat?
No, okay, thank you. But like, what is it made of? Like, is it on fire, or is it like this weird glowy like?
In the promo image, they all have glowy weapons.
Also, have they like?
She doesn't have the bat in that though. She's riding on Donatello's back, which is weird.
Yeah.
Have they like combined her character with Casey Jones's character? Is that why she's using a baseball bat?
I really doubt that.
Are we going to get some sort of weird amalgamation here?
I really doubt that. So
I wouldn't doubt it.
I think what they're thinking.
Also, we're not going to get the Shredder in this show because it's explicitly been said that there's going to be like new villains and stuff, and John Cena is supposed to be the main bad guy, whatever it winds up being.
This strikes me as them going, oh, we'll go back to what we're going to explain as like the very beginning of their careers, and the idea is, oh, one day they'll get to all that. Like they'll get to the size and the Shredder and the Foot Clan and the Triceratons and TCRI and all that, but it doesn't. It seems like they're using that as an excuse to make up new stuff, which is like I have no problem with new stuff. I just don't really. I like I said, I really don't care about this anyway. But
I just want new stuff. It
kind of jumps out to you as trying to make you care in all the ways that make you don't.
Yeah, I'm okay with new stuff. I just want new stuff that doesn't look like ass, and this looks like ass.
Like I said, it just looks desperate, and when I see something that's desperate, that doesn't really make me want to like sit through it week to week.
Oh, and here's something.
But I wouldn't have watched it anyway. So
here's a quote that gives me pause. The series is said to be lighter and more humor oriented than the 2012 series. unless the 2012 series was like the fucking Dark Knight of Turtles, I don't know that we need to go that much further in the humor-oriented direction.
Because then it's really like the 80s show then.
Because you can go too goofy. It's happened before. It was called the 80s.
Yeah. This kind of looks more like that. Like the early days of that. Because remember when they got into the 90s, they tried to go all dark and edgy. But it didn't really work. This looks more like the early days.
Yep.
But there's good turtle stuff out there. That's the good thing, is that there's a lot of different versions of it concurrently, and the IDW comics have apparently always been great. And there's even like multiple canons in that now. Like there's different miniseries and stuff they've done, so, and crossovers with Batman. So I definitely think that there's a market for guys like us who prefer a more kind of traditional Turtles universe.
Yeah, if you wanted to do a Turtles show that didn't do like the foot and all that, why not send them to space? There's like this really cool space.
The 2012 series has been dealing with space for the last couple seasons.
Have they? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they also opened with Krang, I'm pretty sure. I doubt this show will do that, because that's like one of the mainstays.
Some of the coolest stuff in the 2003 series was when we got introduced to like some of the crazy space shit that went on in that universe.
Yeah,
with the fucking
Utroms and fucking the
Triceratrons and yeah, it's great shit.
I remember
the was an alien, and we were like, what?
In the 2012 series, the Krang are a species of aliens like the Utrom, and I guess like the queen or like the leader of the Krang, she was voiced by Roseanne Barr, I believe.
That is fucking brilliant.
That makes a lot of sense.
Wow, that's another news item for you. Roseanne's coming back, guys.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it was.
Yeah, they're bringing it back with as much of the original cast as they can, and apparently they're going to explain everything. That's what that's like a direct quote. Because remember, the last few seasons were like,
it was all a lie,
fantasized by her in like a bedroom writing a novel or whatever, and Dan had died or something. So.
And each daughter was with the opposite husband.
Yeah, or something, which is bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
So but I don't think they're gonna. I think they'll like go back a few seasons and be like, that's the starting point, and then a bunch of bad shit happened to them in between, and that's where we'll pick up.
See, this is gonna be fascinating because Roseanne is kind of infamous for ending horribly.
Being the definitive really show that started out as a really solid, really grounded sitcom, and then it became nonsense like every other sitcom that runs too long.
And so now they're gonna have to fucking try to unjump that shark, and it's gonna be really interesting to watch.
Can you do that? Can you unjump a shark? Can you take the same shark you jumped and then go back?
I've done it before.
David, I somehow believe you.
That's what they aim to find out.
And you've been quiet, man. What are your thoughts on all this Ninja Turtles nonsense? NJN.
Honestly, okay, I'm a fan of the Ninja Turtles, but I really don't care about, you know...
Are you really?
Yes, I am! I'm not confusing Ninja Turtles with Gamera.
Fucking marry it? Is that what... No, I'm kidding.
But I really don't care, honestly, because Ninja Turtles is something that belongs to children, you know, and they always they always change it in one form or another with each new reboot. So the fact that they're adding these changes is really like, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. They change it every couple of years because there's a new cycle. Like I said, there's a new cycle of kindergartners who they can sell the merchandise to. And that's their only excuse.
And before we get a bunch of comments talking about how the original Ninja Turtles comic is gritty and grounded, he's talking about television turtles. Have always been much more child friendly.
Yeah. The comic book turtles have always been for people who remember what it was originally about. You know, but like we said, the TV shows are there to sell the merchandise and support the Empire. So. That's the way that we have to remember it. But I don't know. Like we said, we wouldn't have watched it even if it was good. So,
yeah,
you know, really doesn't matter.
So the same will apply with the Roseanne reboot.
No. I'm gonna watch that. At least the first episode, I'll watch.
I mean, you did watch Fuller House.
I watched the whole first season of Fuller House. So did Dylan. Think about that shit. So we'll give Roseanne a try.
That was morbid.
Season 1 and 2.
That was morbid curiosity.
Morbid is the word, huh?
Okay.
Wait, why did you watch season 2, Dave? What about season 1 had you coming back for more?
I couldn't. After the Wolfpack, really took off in the latter half of the season, I really kind of was like, I'm done.
I don't know. I just couldn't stop. I was hypnotized.
You were hypnotized. Wow.
It's a show about...
Did you download the theme song on your phone? Be honest.
I preferred the original theme song as opposed to...
Did you download that on your phone?
I don't even remember what the theme song for Fuller House sounds like now. Weird.
It's a girl singing it. That's the only difference. And it's like a little
girl.
It's a little more a girl. It's a.
As a matter of fact, why don't we have the Full House theme as the theme for the SOS podcast?
No,
let's not. Let's never. I'd rather have the Family Matters theme.
Unless Christopher Martinez records one, and then that would be. Then definitely we'll do that. That would be awesome.
Let's have Brayton record it.
Well, Brayton can do like an a cappella version with his many different impressions. That would be beautiful. Brayton, if you're listening, you have homework now, huh?
Let's see. So moving onwards, we have not only a trailer, but the first time we ever had a movie that came out like 5 minutes after the initial trailer, and that was the phenomenon that was Cloverfield Paradox.
Indeed, I forgot like everything that we talked about. You bringing up tonight, but now I'm like, oh yeah, these are things that I remember and actually somewhat care about. So they released a fucking Cloverfield movie.
I was gonna watch this before we did this episode, and it completely slipped my mind. I forgot it existed.
Yeah, because like everyone rushed in to watch the movie and then immediately forgot about it the next week.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. So Andres and I will tell you why you really don't have to watch it.
I feel like people woke up the next morning saying like, "Wait, did I watch a movie last night?"
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt.
Yep.
Oh my god, did I travel to another slightly different parallel world last night?
What was advertised was this was supposedly a prequel that explained the phenomenon that occurred 10 years ago, even though that's really not the case because there's a lot of contradictory backstory here.
It's a complete lie.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know this movie was originally called The God Particle, and that I know, you guys remember Larry Quatch, right?
Of course.
Quatch. Yeah. Good old Quatch.
He was able to watch the movie a while back.
Mystery Machine-esque van traveling fame, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So he on Facebook talked about his experience with the God Particle because he actually saw it before it was converted into the Cloverfield Paradox, in that all references to the word Cloverfield was completely like ADR'd in post-production, and the major stinger at the end was not there to begin with.
Oh, you don't say.
Yeah, so this was just a movie that Bad Robot Productions made, and then they decided, it's got some similar themes of mystery. Ooh, what's in the box? What's in the mystery box? So, that whole thing that J.J. Abrams loves to do.
Was all the stuff with the city in there with the husband?
No. None of that was in the movie.
I figured they had to add all that. Like, that had to be a subplot that they added that went nowhere.
Right.
Listen, Bad Robot, if you're listening. The reason 10 Cloverfield Lane worked is that the only thing you changed was the name of the movie. And everything else remained the same. You can't just take a previously existing movie and turn it into a Cloverfield. That's madness. That would be like me taking a Star Trek movie and trying to ADR it and turn it into a prequel to Star Wars. It doesn't make any sense.
It's worse though, only because it's a problem because that's the way they advertised it.
Mm-hmm.
In the actual movie,
it obviously makes them.
It's because it's a lie. It's not a prequel to that first Cloverfield movie. It has nothing to do with that incident. All it has in common is the monster design is the same,
and it doesn't need to share anything with the original movie.
It doesn't at all.
Also, like the lore for this movie completely contradicts the lore that was established in the viral marketing that led up to the release of the first movie.
But once you're watching it, everybody has iPhone. All that doesn't even matter. Like, you know that this is a different thing.
Like, I thought that what we had established with 10 Cloverfield Lane was that Cloverfield was now this, like, you know, this new, like, Twilight Zone type of thing where every movie was going to be, like, its own unique thing, but it just is connected by this title, you know, kind of what John Carpenter wanted Halloween to be back in the day. Like, I thought that's what we had established with 10 Cloverfield Lane, but now they've tried to turn this into a prequel, so now this brings up the question, is 10 Cloverfield Lane now connected in some way that they have yet to explain? Like,
it could be.
It's just too much.
Well, I mean, it just seems like it exists in a multitude of parallel. You know, we're going to spoil elements of it, by the way. If you're listening and you care, you shouldn't. Of the many parallel Earths that must exist in this reality, where we can build giant hadron colliders in space, that'll send us to a universe where we have blonde friends that we don't know about who look like Gwendolyn Christie but aren't Gwendolyn Christie.
This movie just got a whole lot more interesting. Go on.
Yeah. So that happens. All the stuff on the space. Andres, you watched it, right?
Yeah.
All the stuff on the space station, thoroughly mediocre. Not bad, I didn't think.
Not bad. It's just, you could really tell that they were running on a very, very, very low budget, because it seemed like they run through like the same 3 hallways and hang out in like the same like 2 rooms.
I had
in
the
total.
same problem with it that I did with Life, but it was a lot more understandable with this than it was in Life. The astronauts are dickhead idiots, it's not as bad as in Life, because these guys are like working under really, really, really stressful fucking international political circumstances, and they're all from different countries. So I kind of understand that they're maybe not getting the best of the best to do this. But
I just realized everybody who read those Life fan theories back in the day that were like, this is a fucking prequel to Venom, and said, ooh, that should be true. No, this is what would happen if they had tried to make that true. It would have been a vaguely connected mess.
Exactly. You're exactly right. Taking 2 things that were not connecting and forcing them together because, ooh, it'll get people online, which is exactly why they did this. And it didn't work. But that being said,
it's the Hollywood equivalent of clickbait.
Exactly, you're absolutely right. But I don't want people to also think that it's just because of that this movie is disappointing. It's also because the stuff on the space station, it doesn't hold itself together. Even, you know, it feels at a certain point you just feel like, I don't really know what we're building to, if anything, and I just don't really care anymore. None of these people have really, you know, kind of grasped my attention fully. My favorite character was the guy who loses his arm, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And he was not even remotely the protagonist. So, of the 5 other ones, I didn't really grasp onto anybody. Conceptually, it's all good, but in execution, it's boring, and worse when they, you know, try to force all the Cloverfield stuff into it. It's laughably inane. Shot of the Cloverfield monster at the end is laughable. Because it erupts out of the fucking clouds, presumably like thousands of feet in the air. And it doesn't look as good as it did in the first one even. And it roars right at the camera after swallowing the lead characters of the movie.
It does. It didn't. I don't think it swallowed them. They just like landed somewhere behind the monster.
See, but like I'm watching it, and I got the sense that like when they made that, they were like, oh, people were gonna think that it got swallowed, and the editor must have been like, good, that'll be fucking awesome. So I don't know. I think it's supposed to be like intentionally vague, because you don't watch that after editing it and not think that. I without a doubt. So I watched that and instantly said out loud, this is gonna be like made fun of for years just for that shot.
And I guess one of the biggest problems is that this movie tries to set up a mystery, and the mystery is solved like halfway through the movie. So then the second half, they're just padding until they eventually reveal the true villain of the movie.
I kind of figured out what was going. I mean, like you understand that it's going to be parallel universes kind of instantly, and it's only once the movie starts to give you hints of of the situation that they're actually in, and you put it together, and then you wait for them to put it together 45 minutes later. You know.
I wish it was something more fucking creative than that. A parallel universe is where the monster comes from. That's just Pacific Rim.
That's not even the real point of it. Yeah, sure, the monster comes from a parallel universe, but they travel to a parallel universe is more of the thing.
That's fine.
That's a reveal that they play, and you're like, I gathered that.
And that's fine as its own movie. But you turn that into a Cloverfield prequel, and it's like, well, now you're just ripping off fucking Pacific Rim and even Stranger Things. Like now it's Stranger Things.
I'm just telling you that part of it isn't even the problem. It's that the movie thinks that it's this really big fucking like, oh my god, we're gonna break minds like Inception and fucking Interstellar. But like I said, you put it together in like 2 seconds after they start delivering even the subtlest hints of what's going on, when they're like, oh my god, where's the Earth? It's disappeared. And for a second I was like, oh, that's an interesting development. And then when I realized they didn't actually blow it up, that I've realized, okay, yeah, they're in a parallel universe.
It kind of sounds like Prometheus, you know. I have no doubt that Prometheus is handled way better than this movie is. From listening to your description of it.
I think it might be actually better than Prometheus.
But Prometheus
they're both equally convoluted.
But Prometheus has a similar problem of being like, isn't this deep? And I'm like, no, not really. You're kind of just doing the same theme from Blade Runner about wanting to meet your creator, Ridley.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot of like somewhat hackneyed approaches to ideas that could have been really interesting had they been executed in interesting ways. But it's got a good cast. It's got some moments where you go, what? So if you're looking for that, I mean, I guess, but you're going to laugh at the end, and you're not supposed to. Trust me.
If you're looking to go, what?
Wait. So did the Cloverfield monster come from the universe that?
No.
What's her name?
No. The actual monsters appearing is unconnected to where they go.
But I guess they could hint that it came from an alternate universe.
No, well, clearly that's the idea, is that the effect of their experiment had two effects. They traveled to a slightly different version of their universe, where, you know, some people were alive that were dead in their universe, and there were different members of the crew. And on their Earth, simultaneously, a bunch of monsters from some other fucking nightmare universe got thrown onto their Earth and just started destroying everything. So it's just like, okay, fine, and what? You know, like that's what I felt. I was like, okay, you have a bunch of these monsters running around now, and so what? You know, like if you're not gonna make it that the attack from the first Cloverfield, I don't even know why you even bothered, you know? You could have just had it be revealed that there was some, like they had destroyed the Earth with their experiment at the end, or some other cataclysmic thing that happened. It didn't have to be the Cloverfield, like many bigger versions of the Cloverfield monster.
Mm-hmm.
So, definitely a disappointment. David, did you see it?
Of course I saw it.
Okay, well, what did you think? Did you like it?
I don't know. I liked the first half of the movie, the first act.
Mm-hmm.
But then when it started, I don't know, it just started going downhill. Like, it started off strongly, but I don't know. Yeah. I feel like...
I totally see where you're coming from. Like I said, it had good ideas at the start, and then you see where they're going instantly, and that they're not going to get there in an interesting way.
It's so convoluted in a terrible way, because I'm still confused about the whole the origins of the Cloverfield monster. I'm fucking confused.
Well, it's not, but like I said before, it has nothing to do, seemingly, with that initial incident. If anything, it's just, maybe the monster from that movie came from this nightmare reality that must exist out there somewhere. That's the only vague implication that's in there.
So can the Cloverfield monster fly?
No, I think the ones that we see are just big, like way bigger than the one that was in the first movie. I think that's the idea. It doesn't seem to be flying. It just seems to like rise up through the clouds.
That's what confused me.
It was that's what it's not. It's dumb looking. It looks hilarious. Like they're idiots. I don't know what they were thinking. Really big mistake. When I walked out of 10 Cloverfield Lane, I was like, wow, that was really like a thrill ride moment to moment. I was like on the edge of my seat, and I really liked the reveal at the end with all the aliens and everything. But there was such this noticeable jump from low budget in a basement movie to Independence Day that I felt like it was a little weird. And this was such a fucking dramatic exaggeration of that. You know, because when I walked out, like I said, I was okay with that. Like, it worked for the emotional impact that they were going for, but it was just definitely a little weird. And this was hilarious. Sorry?
Did it work for the emotional baggage?
Did you not like that on 10 Cloverfield Lane?
Oh, you're talking about 10 Cloverfield. I thought we were talking about Paradox.
I'm saying that the big, like, oh my god, special effects, aliens, monsters, explosions at the end of that is definitely weird, but it works better in that instance than the 2 seconds of the Cloverfield monster we get at the end of this. But it's the same kind of problem of, you know, you take 2 seconds to go, oh my god, this is what you thought might have been going on. And it's hysterical and ruins the rest of the package that otherwise would have been fine. So hopefully they manage to turn it around. I think that the series definitely still has the potential to do so. But maybe just like make something. Make something and leave it, you know? JJ doesn't. There was that great meme where it was like Cloverfield. You know, this one was just straight to Netflix, no marketing whatsoever. The next one will just be JJ riding by your house on a bicycle, and he'll throw the Blu-ray through your window unannounced. Yeah, that would be the next step, I guess. So that'll be the next thing.
Pick a fucking direction for this franchise if you're going to make any more of them. If you're going to make them just like all sort of vague science fiction stories that may or may not be connected, great, fine. If you're going to connect them, then maybe you should actually make a movie from scratch instead of taking some little art film that had nothing to do with it and turning it into a Cloverfield movie. Because
Exactly.
you got away with it once. It was super risky, but you managed to pull it off. This time,
Yeah, I thought they were going to make this one from scratch, too. That was the impression that I got, but that's not the case. It's clearly another low-budget science fiction film that they suddenly were like, let's make this a Cloverfield movie. So they need to stop doing that. I'm with you. I
Which is so bizarre.
I didn't even think about that being the root of the problem, but it absolutely is.
It sounds like the kind of thing like fucking Canon would do in the 80s. Like, it's not a good business model.
Or any number of, like, companies that bought Toho or other giant monster movies and tried to turn them into something else, like Gigantus the Fire Monster or fucking... what's another, like, horrendous example?
Varan the Unbelievable.
Okay, sure, but I'm trying to think, like, where they really, really made it, like, a completely different thing.
They almost did that with the volcano monsters.
85?
Yeah, okay, 85 a little bit. But, like, the American version of Rodan is completely different. You know, where it's like they take that thoroughly acceptable and functional material and fucking ruin it with their own personality, you know? But it doesn't always have to be that way, man. That's the only thing I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So we're not going to see a review of Dan anytime soon, Bill?
I actually don't have a copy of it right now. I would love to do that.
Really?
You better hurry, because those classic media DVDs are getting very rare now.
That's why I don't have one, because they are very rare now.
Oh, if I can get you the Blu-ray.
Let's talk. Let's talk in an alley after the show.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I guess moving on. The rest of the news is just a whole bunch of trailers. So the first trailer that I think is probably the most popular right now because of the property involved is Solo, a Star Wars story.
Oh boy.
Yay.
Is that the top one still? The top trending?
I don't know.
I feel like
it was up there for a while.
am I the only one excited for that movie?
No, I'm not. I'm not like fucking loathing its arrival, but I'm one of the people who goes, I didn't need a Han Solo origin movie. I'm not sold on the kid. But the rest of it looks thoroughly enjoyable. I'm excited. I'm really excited about Donald Glover as Lando. That has been something that I have been charismatic and enthusiastic for since the very beginning of this production. So,
for me, I feel very about it because it just feels like a lot of other action movies sci-fi action movies that we've seen before. You have like the brash rookie who's a troublemaker, but he has ambitions of making it big. And you have the guy who's like, I'm willing to give you a chance because I'm putting a team together. We're going to pull off a heist.
It looks like Goodfellas with Star Wars, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But...
Actually, that sounds like Bill's life story right there.
I mean, I'm not...
Everything sounds like Bill's life story to you, David.
Of course. Everywhere I go,
he's tapped in.
Because you're obsessed with Bill.
Because you have
because you secretly want to be him.
I get.
I mean,
you stole his fat so you can add it to your own.
She's fucking single white femaling me. My God. Or talented Mr. Ripley.
So I am John Carpenter's The Thing, is what you're saying.
Yes.
If you want to be, you can be.
You're a horrible, life-sucking monster.
Oh my God. We're friends, guys. No, what the fuck were we talking about?
But anyways, Solo. It just felt very generic to me.
I'm more with you in terms of the performance of the guy playing Solo. He feels like a guy. He feels like a guy in one of those generic action movies giving that kind of performance, and not so much like somebody trying to capture the spirit of Han Solo.
What if that was the intention from Disney to make it seem like Andre said, a generic Westerner?
Maybe that could
wait, the movie itself or Han Solo?
I mean, the marketing for the movie, because Disney has been fucking around with fans when it comes to the marketing for the Star Wars movies, like The Last Jedi. That last trailer, it kind of implied many things. Then the movie came out and pulled a complete 180 on every single.
Yeah, that's true. Which I'm fine with. I'm kind of happy that they were just suddenly like, all right, it's happening in like 5 months. I'm glad they didn't suddenly go, now we're delaying it until December. And I'm like, oh God, we have to listen to people bitch about that for like another 6 months. So, yeah, I mean, visually looks pretty cool. There's a lot of cool ideas in there. The weird space train looks awesome. And it definitely looks like we're going to get a deeper look at parts of Star Wars on screen that we haven't gotten to see. But it didn't necessarily have to be a Han Solo movie. That's my only. That's my real point. You know.
I'm more interested in a Boba Fett movie.
I kind of want a Lando movie with Donald Glover, because I feel like that would have been more unproven ground. Although I think there are, just as there are with Han Solo, a bunch of books that give us Lando's kind of backstory, but who knows? But you know, Dylan, you're back now. We're talking about Solo, a Star Wars story. The trailer. What is your Solo opinion?
I think Solo. I think Solo, a Red Cup story, looks looks aight. Nothing in the trailer blew me away. But it looks like
you weren't wowed by the space train that runs on upside down tracks.
Definitely not. If I was wowed by anything, it's the fact that Woody Harrelson's in the movie, and that I already knew that. I mean,
so you were wowed twice. That's impressive.
Donald Glover looks good, I guess. I don't know. I'm way more excited for the fucking Obi-Wan standalone movie that hasn't even started filming.
Has that even been officially confirmed?
I thought they came out and said, yes.
So did I, but then I heard that they didn't.
I'll tell you what I'm excited for. I just shared a link right here.
Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, we've been waiting for that for 30 years, Andres. Gonk Droid has been waiting for his time for a long time. Andres, have you read the book From a Certain Point of View?
No.
There are many elements of that in there. There's a bunch of droids that get like big moments during A New Hope that we didn't realize about.
I heard that apparently one droid in some BS expanded universe shit, it was revealed like that droid who was
the force sensitive, the force sensitive droid.
That's
droid.
Not in From a Certain Point of View, but yes,
okay.
that is a thing.
And he used the Force because he knew that it was important for R2-D2 to be with Luke Skywalker.
From a Certain Point of View is so much worse though, because they do a story from that droid's point of view, and he's just a normal droid. But R2-D2 sabotages him.
Like, I always thought that was the case.
I think that's way... But see, that's way more, like,
no, it is. It is, exactly. That's why I'm okay with it. But it's fucking, like, Jesus. Like,
it's in character for R2. It makes, actual sense. It's still a thing that doesn't need to be explained.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing. When I got to that part of it From a Certain Point of View, because that book is awesome, but some of the stories aren't. A lot of them are good, and a lot of them are eh. There's like a lot in there.
Just like Star Wars expanded universe material.
Sure, it is a little bit of a microcosm of that. But Nathan Fillion does a good Boba Fett.
I mean, you guys know my pitch. It hasn't changed. I want Porkins a Star Wars story.
Yes.
I need it.
Played by Adam?
No. Kevin Smith, man. Kevin Smith.
My pitch has always been Kevin Smith, but yeah, I'm open to suggestions.
Yes.
But
okay.
I just just that kid, man. I'm not sold on him yet. That's the only thing. You gotta sell me on him still.
Yeah, he hasn't.
I will not be sold on him until I'm sitting in that movie theater watching him for 2 hours, probably. But yeah, that's really the thing that's gonna make or break this whole deal.
Having his prepubescent voice like squeak every once in a while. It's all right. It's all right.
I've watched both trailers. So the first one you hear him and you only see him briefly at the end, and then the second trailer you see him, and you're just like, there are moments where like, yeah, he kind of looks like Harrison Ford, and then when he speaks, you're like, that's not Harrison Ford.
No,
it almost feels as if they went to great lengths to keep him out of the trailer, and that makes me nervous.
They probably showed more of Lando than he did of Harrison Ford. More of Lando than he did of Han.
I don't think they did. In either trailer. I think you only get like 2 shots of Lando in both trailers. And he doesn't say anything. I'm really interested to hear his voice.
Mm-hmm.
And to hear his pronunciation of Han or Han. Han, we have to loot their astro train.
Yeah, if Donald Glover doesn't get Lando Calrissian's pronunciation of Han right, I'm going to be thoroughly disappointed.
That's why I'll walk out. Like, even if the Han Solo kid's not great, I'll still be there for Donald Glover's Lando, unless he fucks up how he's supposed to say Han.
Mm-hmm. If he says
Han, if you don't bring back the Falcon, I'm gonna fucking slap you upside the fucking skull. I was trying to be more like Star Wars colorful, but I couldn't think of any like Star Wars adjectives
right
or locations.
Bill, why didn't you audition for Lando?
Because they didn't ask me, and I'm not black.
I will herd your nerf. Yeah. If he says fucking
CG to make you black, Bill.
Would digital
blackface?
Jr. Would digital blackface be offensive? That's a good
yes,
point.
it was, because apparently that's what happened with Deadpool. In the first Deadpool movie, no, it was Gotham. It was in Gotham. There was a white stunt driver portraying a black character, and for like a few, I think they digitally made the white stunt actor black, so it was like digital. It was literal digital blackface, and
listen,
Fox
everybody
got like a lot of heat from that, a lot of shit from that.
That's just dumb on their part because it probably looks bad.
Here's the thing.
That reminds me of the Cloud Atlas controversy, even though that movie is about reincarnation, so it makes sense. I get why blackface isn't a thing. that we encourage. But if it's a fucking stunt driver, do we give a shit? I don't give a shit. Does anybody here give a shit?
What I give a lot more of a shit about is in Doctor Who, the 50th anniversary special. They had like a fucking fat dude portraying Clara when she's on her fucking motorcycle. And I'm like, get somebody who at least has the same build. Because that's hilarious.
The thing is, maybe they didn't have a fat person.
I'll never be able to unsee that.
Maybe they didn't have the resources at hand because, funny enough,
only had one fat guy to ride a motorcycle. They had a slightly skinnier guy.
All they had were fat people, Bill.
Is that all they got over there on the Doctor Who set? The one skinny guy they have to play the Doctor.
They were like, "What is this? An American set?"
So is digital blackface okay if it involves Bill?
I don't know. I'm not really the person to ask.
I mean, this is important. This is a life-changing, career-changing. This is a life-changing, career-changing thing, Bill. I need to know.
It's because you want to play Bill playing digital blackface?
Would you like to portray me in a film where I attempt to kickstart my career as an actor, but as a black actor, where I try to get into the industry by pretending to be a different race?
Now that's an idea, Bill. I'm taking that idea, and I am not sharing royalties with you.
Like, I will be the next Denzel Washington.
I mean, but that's Robert Downey Jr. in fucking Tropic Thunder. It's been done.
Mm-hmm.
Where he hung out. Did you ever see the fake making of that movie on the DVD? Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Because you have Robert Downey Jr., like, he goes off and he fucking forces his way into living with that guy's family. Oh, it's so good. So good. He's pissing on news reporters. That's amazing.
Well, the thing I wanted to bring up, you mentioned digital blackface, and the way Fox responded when they were making Deadpool 2, I believe, was that they were having what was it? They were doing a motorcycle stunt scene involving the character Domino, who in the movie is black, and they had like two stunt women. They had a white stunt woman who was much more experienced, worked on a lot of movies, and was easily capable of doing the dangerous stunt, and a black stunt woman who was not as experienced. And so they asked the black stunt woman to do the stunt because she physically resembles the actress. The black stunt woman said, "No, I don't want to do it. I'm way too scared. I don't want to do it. Have the white woman do it." And Fox was like, "Hell no, we're not gonna have another
We ain't
Gotham
opening that
incident."
bag of cats again.
Yeah, and so they pretty much had the black stunt woman do the stunt action scene.
Oh my God.
The motorcycle crashed, and she died on impact.
Are you fucking kidding me? Oh,
nope,
now
that's what happened.
Now they're not going to get heat, right? Right, guys? That's how you avoid heat. Jesus.
PC wins the day.
You see, blackface could have saved that woman's life.
That's so amazing.
And killed.
Okay, it's not amazing. It's not amazing that woman died. That's very sad. And hopefully a lesson to them to maybe think for more than 5 seconds before making a movie.
I just want to say that
to be fair, in that situation, the white woman would have died instead. So it's not as if there wouldn't have been a death.
The thing is, she's much more experienced. She would have done it easily.
That's why she maybe not necessarily would have. Like,
true.
You're right. Like, it wasn't necessarily a guarantee that the reason why the stunt didn't work was because she was inexperienced. But the odds are, given how she reacted when they asked her to do it, that may have played a role. So
you heard it here first, kids. Blackface saves lives. Always be sure to wear your safety.
Please think for more than 5 seconds before making these decisions, because that'll save lives.
Always be sure to wear your motorcycle helmet and your blackface when performing motorcycle stunts.
That or just like put like green paint on your face so that they can like green screen in digitally insert the person's face,
or just like put a helmet on them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way to fix it.
Have you guys seen that video of Tom Hanks, because he's still an insane person who insists on doing his own stunts? He fucking like broke his foot.
Tom Cruise you're talking about, okay.
Oh, fuck, Tom Cruise.
I was going to say, like, what fucking Tom Hanks movie are you watching, and why can't I watch it? Tom Hanks in Mission Impossible 7. He's jumping off fucking buildings and breaking his urethra. Oh, darn it! There's a snake in my boot! And by that I mean my urethra is broken.
Fuck.
I got Andres to do his original laugh. Yay, that means he feels better.
No, Cruise.
Wait on that.
Did you see that fucking video? Like, his foot bends in a way that the human foot is not meant to bend, and then he just fucking, like, limps off camera.
Yeah,
it's great.
I saw that. It was amazing. I loved every frame of it. No.
Please share this video. I want to see this now.
That movie actually looks kind of cool.
Let's see if I can find it. Tom Cruise stunt injury. I'm gonna get like a million results.
So much porn.
I also personally hate Tom Cruise, so I will enjoy watching this.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him myself, but I don't necessarily want him to shatter his ankle. That's not really the way that's gonna fix Tom Cruise.
No, but it'll bring an end to Scientology.
And by the way, besides, like I said, I'm not a huge Mission Impossible guy. I didn't like the first one when I first saw it, but this actually looks kind of cool. And we finally get to see Henry Cavill's mustache. It's not altered by CGI, so that's a nice surprise.
Well, I found the video, but it's not from the angle where you can actually see his foot bending. Let's see if I can find.
And that's really the crucial component.
Well, in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, I guess because we were talking about Deadpool 2, we can talk about the new Deadpool 2 trailer.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Henry Cavill's mustache, that joke was awesome. They don't give no fucks, and I love it.
Yeah.
It looks exactly as good as you'd want it to be. I mean, it is spot on, in my opinion, as to what everybody's expectations were.
The one thing I want to say is that it felt like they made Cable's arm more mechanical than it appeared as in the comic. Because in the comic, it was just like kind of a boring series of segmented...
It's not a robot arm in the comic. He's got like the techno virus, and it's more that deal. That's still probably in there. But I guarantee you what happened is he cut his arm off to try and prevent the spread of it, and that's why he's got the robot arm. That's my theory.
Okay. Yeah, because his arm essentially looks segmented, like Colossus's arm.
Maybe they're using the same template they used for
I don't think it's really a big deal. It looks different to me.
Yeah, it's different, but it's not a problem.
Oh, I found it. Oh, God. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan's still watching Tom Cruise's leg shatter.
I finally found the good one where you can actually see the foot bend into a 90-degree angle.
Yes. Oh, happy day.
But it looks like they really nailed the tone of Deadpool and Cable's relationship. Like, they didn't make Cable ridiculous in any way.
Damn!
He is inherently... I love you guys are all watching the Tom Cruise video.
Right? Yeah. And then he just, like, gets up and limps away. Like, I can't...
Goddamn.
I mean, the man can take a beating. I'll give him that.
This was from Mission Impossible Rogue One.
Yeah, because I feel like if this happened to me, I would just die right there on the spot.
No, this is the new one, Fallout. It's not Rogue Nation.
Like, I would lose my will to live and just fall off the building right now. And I would be on a harness, so I still wouldn't be dead, but I would be wishing I would be.
I would never agree to be in this situation in the first place. But that's the thing about Tom Cruise is he actively goes, so what life-threatening situation can you put me in this movie?
Yeah, no, listen, wanting to do all your own
running
stunts,
away from this time.
Wanting to do all your own stunts when you're in your 20s is very admirable. But when you're in your fucking 50s, 60s, however old he is now, you should probably lay off.
Well, because it just feels desperate, you know? It feels like every movie's... Because remember in The Mummy, it was like the gravity stunt. It's like, all right, come on. Are you going to do this every time? You're going to fucking threaten yours and everybody else's lives just because it's your thing?
Yeah, well, The Mummy really is a little time capsule of Tom Cruise's denial of the fact that he's aging. Especially the line where Russell Crowe goes, "You're a young man." And
yeah.
he's like, he's younger than Tom Cruise.
Yes. That's very weird. Especially since David, based on what you told me, in that he's like Jekyll's not from like the 19th century. Like he's just a guy, like he's not immortal or whatever, so that's weird.
The origins of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. They don't even explain how he becomes Mr. Hyde. It's just there. It's another one of those shoehorn plot points to set up the Dark Universe.
Oh, so at no point does Tom Cruise go, "Why did that happen?" And he explains
no,
it.
really. No, he doesn't question it. He just runs away, and it's never brought up again.
Great, good universe building.
Good job. You did it. You fucking you did. Here's your cake. You did it.
You can't have it though. You can't have your cake and eat it too.
Congratulations, you done it. So I guess there's nothing left to say about Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2. It looks great.
Yeah.
That's one thing to say.
I'm fucking stoked. I love the shot where him and the blind bitch, whose name I forget, both point their guns, and then he has
Blind
to
Al?
Is that her name?
Yes.
Yeah, Blind Al.
I prefer to call her the blind bitch.
Well, all right. I'm sure she'll love it.
I know she's not Nichelle Nichols from Star Wars, but she kind of, or Star Trek.
From
but she
Star Wars.
But she kind of looks like Nichelle Nichols from Star Trek.
She does a little bit. You're right, but she's not nearly that old. I mean, Nichelle Nichols is like up there, and the actress playing Blind Al looks that old, but isn't. She's probably in her mid-60s, I would guess. At most, maybe even like late 50s. They obviously make her look older.
Yeah, I'm actually more stoked for Deadpool 2 at this point than I am for Infinity War, which is weird. I know that I should be more stoked for Infinity War because it's like the biggest comic book movie of all time, but I don't know. Deadpool looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm equally stoked for both to be polar opposites of each other in terms of like what elements of this genre they're kind of exploiting. You know, Infinity War is kind of the culmination of the groundwork that the MCU built 10 years ago. This is the subversion of the whole genre that's been going on for the past 20 years.
Also, what is Disney thinking? They're like competing with themselves like triple in this month because they've got Infinity War, Han Solo, and Deadpool 2, which they now own Fox, all coming out.
They had nothing to do with that. So at that point, so they had no control over that at that point.
But they'll still reap the benefits. It's just it's weird.
But all of those things will still make their adequate sums of money. It's like I don't even think that they think of it as competing. I think of it they just think, we're putting out 3 different products in a slightly different time frame. By that I mean a couple of weeks.
I think what'll be interesting next year is to see if anybody has the balls to put their movie up against the It sequel, because that was just such a huge smash last year.
Probably not. That'll probably come out around the same time to reap those benefits. Like that'll be like a late August, September release, and just take that ghost of a time slot. That seems to be the real success stories these days, is when a blockbuster comes out in like fucking March and makes $1 billion, and then nothing else tops it for the whole year. Beauty and the Beast.
Last year was a weird year where like all the things you expected to make money didn't, and then all of the things that you were unsure about turned into like massive sleeper hits. It was
exactly. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it's picking out those moments where people aren't releasing stuff. Thor Ragnarok comes out in early November. Although I think the last Thor movie had a similar release date as that as well. It was like a November release or something. But that's not a traditional blockbuster kind of season. But it's becoming more so. I guess it's like you consider that like a Thanksgiving release.
Yeah, well, the old seasons are pretty much dead because they used to be a good indicator of what was going to make money, and now they're not, which means they're basically pointless.
Exactly. Yeah, but once they become pointless, something else will come in to fill those dates, and then they'll take that title. That's why it's all bullshit, this whole, trying to fucking formulate it into these little formulas, Just make stuff and see what happens, huh? Mm-hmm. You can afford it.
Let's see. Anything else about Deadpool 2?
No. Terry Crews is in it? But who is he playing?
That's a good question. The metal arm looks good.
Yeah.
On Terry Crews?
Yeah, he's one of the dudes in the plane. But I don't know if he's a mutant or if he is who he's playing.
No. He has a metal arm?
No.
No, I presume Dylan was talking about Cable.
Oh.
I was.
They've got the bear in there, the bear.
You know what would have been great is if Terry Crews had been, what's his name? Is it Bishop? Yeah, I think it's Bishop.
Oh, yeah, he was briefly in fucking Days of Future Past. So I'd love them to bring him back and look more comic booky. There's a bunch of characters in that plane that appear to be characters from the comics that we just can't really get a good look at them. So I presume those will be revealed.
Terry Crews' role in the film is not yet disclosed on Google, so I don't know.
We shall have to find out.
Mm-hmm. All right, then. So I guess moving onwards, the next trailer we have up is Jurassic World 2. Or Jurassic World The Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
We see more of that explosion. We see some jump scares.
It's confirmed that basically what the director said is accurate. They get off the island a lot quicker than you would expect.
Yeah, apparently all the stuff from that first trailer is in like the first act of the film, which is crazy because that was a lot of.
That's kind of great though. I'm more excited for it now based on that, and I'm actually a little more optimistic based on this little teaser.
And it looks like they're like continuing up from that idea of like evil corporations using dinosaurs to make money.
See, that's always been at the core of Jurassic Park, so fine. What I don't love is the new evil businessmen. They're never good.
Yeah,
they need to. Yeah.
They're one-dimensional.
They should use older characters, or just cast those roles better, or just don't do that kind of archetype. Do something else.
Well, listen, you need the older.
The first movie, you did have like evil. Yeah, did have greedy businessmen, but they were actually subtle about their evilness.
Well, no, let's not pretend like Ludlow was anything to really like write home about. He was the beginning of this problem. But I would prefer. He's got more of a personality. Well, but we haven't seen the movie yet. I mean, the guy in the fucking.
But he was like a mustache. He was a mustache twirling villain.
He was. He absolutely was.
I think you need the the like CEO of the company because in this kind of story, just because that's how things work. Yeah. But you don't have to make them a character in and of themselves. Do what the original RoboCop did. The old man who ran the company, he didn't have shit to do with that first movie. It was all Dick and his machinations. You know, he
didn't realize he was a bad guy until 2.
Dr. Wu could be your Dick.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was hoping for.
Mm-hmm.
But and then you throw.
Dick Wu. No, it's Henry. I know. I've read the book.
And then you throw
Dick
Kurtwood
Wu.
Smith in. You throw Kurtwood Smith in there. You know, I don't know what he's playing. Maybe an older Dodson.
Maybe a dinosaur. So I read a Jurassic Park comic recently, a bad one, I should say. Most of them are.
Is it the one with the raptor flying the helicopter?
No, that's better than this. This was an IDW one from 2010. It's set like 15 years after the first movie. It's about grown-up Lex and Tim. They're both millionaires running their own bullshit companies. And for some reason, Tim decides that giving Jurassic Park another go is the way to do things. And,
why?
And because he's an idiot. And he insists that, so he has nothing to do with the project like on hand. He just kind of funds it and gives the okay because he has the rights to the concept because he's a Hammond, and they set it up all without his involvement. And he insists like, oh, there can only be herbivores, and there better not be any velociraptors because ooh, you scamps. And then of course there are like every kind of carnivore, and there's like Carnotauruses and fucking all kinds of shit.
Only Vegisauruses.
Yeah, and then it turns out, see, because it's like there is a mustache twirling villain in the shadows throughout the entire comic, and it was the only reason that I was reading it was to try and figure out who it was, because you know it's going to be somebody from the movies who they're going to reveal, because that's what these movie tie-in extended universe comics always do. Like your Planet of the Apes comics, it's always a character from the movies or related to them who turns out to be like the bad guy. And I'm like, it's got to be Dotson. Because the movies never did anything with Dotson, it's got to be Dotson.
I know. I always wanted them to do something with Dotson.
So I'm thinking it's got to be Dotson. But the thing is, this guy seems to be injured in some way. He seems to be fucked up. So I'm like,
oh no, right. It's not Malcolm, is it?
So I'm like, it can't be. So it can't really be Dotson. We never saw him got injured, but maybe something happened to him. But then Dotson shows up, looking exactly the same as he did in the first Jurassic Park, and he works for the bad guy. So I'm like, okay, good twist on that, because I was sure it was Dotson. and then it's revealed to be Peter Ludlow. And I was just like, I called it a second before I saw the panel. And it's actually kind of hilariously awesome. And that was the moment where I
wait. So is this actually in continuity with the second movie?
Yeah, so the T-Rex apparently got stunned like a second after the camera cut away. And he was taken away and healed by his InGen cronies. And he's been behind the scenes the whole time. Apparently he's also the reason the Spinosaurus exists.
I see.
So... Good. So, but he looks like fucking hamburger meat though. So the baby fucked him up. That was, like I said, that was the moment where I suddenly got interested again, because I was just skimming it the rest of the time trying to figure out who the bad guy was. And then when they got there, I was like, oh, okay. I called it, but of all the people you could have made it, that's the one that makes the most sense. Because his idea is he wants to ruin both the legacy of John Hammond, as if that wasn't already done, and he wants to ruin the idea of Jurassic Park, as if that wasn't already done. So, pointlessness, but there was some fun to be had. Terrible art, though. Awful art.
I was always disappointed that they never had Dodson or somebody try to go back to the island and retrieve the Barbasol can. I always thought that was the perfect...
That was the plot of the game that Telltale did.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, then somebody finally fucking did it, because I always thought, like, why wasn't that the sequel? Like, that's clearly, like, I mean, you can't watch the first movie and then start thinking, how do I do a sequel? And not immediately go to, oh, the Barbasol can is in the mud, like, you know?
It's also fun because that game takes place both concurrently and then after the first movie. So you get to see, like, a little bit of what happened to Isla Nublar directly after the movie. And it doesn't get blown up like it does in the book.
Of course not.
I remember I read the Jurassic Park Junior novelization when I was young, and so that's a novelization of the movie, of course. And at the end of it, when they're flying away in the helicopters, you know, Alan Green, he looks at the birds. He's like, "Oh, birds, dinosaurs, the last line of the book is, "But they're probably gonna nuke the island." But I love that they throw that in there, because obviously that was the writer of that going, I've read the actual Jurassic Park book and it ends very differently. So
fuck you, Steven Spielberg.
And well, more like, because Michael Crichton wrote the screenplay, the initial screenplay for the movie, and none of the many different endings they proposed involved the island being destroyed. So he was cool with that from the onset. But the actual Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom trailer, another thing from the book that they're bringing in, the way that I don't know if it's a velociraptor. I don't think it is. Whatever it is that's stalking that girl, the way that it's clicking its nail on the floor, that's described in the first book. It's kind of a moment of establishing tension. And they were marketing this as being a more horrific Jurassic Park movie anyway. So cool that they're throwing that in there. But you know, it looks fun.
Yeah, it's interesting how the original movie managed to be both, you know, fun family adventure film and, you know, dinosaur horror movie, and now all the sequels have to pick one because nobody's comfortable doing both.
Yeah, or they feel like they can't in the runtime, and when they try, it just feels weird. Because Jurassic Park 3, I feel like tries to be both. And that's why that movie... Well, no, the reason why that movie doesn't work is because it has zero story. That's the reason why that movie doesn't work. But
what will happen to the Kirby's tile business, Bill?
Oh, but it doesn't exist, though. That's the thing. Oh, no, it does.
Oh, no, it definitely
they had
exists.
the paint and tile store. That's right. The multinational corporation didn't exist. I don't know. We still didn't find out what happened to it at the end, so...
Yes, because that is a real jingle on that satellite phone. The sun recognizes it.
Yeah, it looks like a Jurassic Park movie. And I'm excited about that.
Yeah, all right. And then moving on, we have
any thoughts?
Who?
You.
I just mentioned that a lot of it feels like big, overblown Hollywood action movie, and I just hope that I don't really have a lot of expectations for it. I just hope that it's at least entertaining, and at least in a dumb action movie with dinosaurs kind of way.
Yeah, I mean that seems to be the direction that they're
I'm a
leaning
little
into.
worried. I'm a little worried that we're still in rehash territory, though, because
It looks like The Lost World.
Because the first movie was rehashing, island with dinosaurs, theme park, that whole thing. And now this is rehashing the whole dinosaurs coming to the mainland from the theme park, wreaking havoc, seems to be the idea.
That looks a lot more elaborated, though.
Yeah, I feel like it'll be a larger portion of the runtime this time, so maybe that'll be good.
But the part that looks more like The Lost World is we have to go to the island and get the dinosaurs back.
Yeah, a lot of Chris Pratt walking around the island yelling "Blue,
Yeah,
Blue," and then somebody else coming up, "Sarah Harding."
yeah, exactly. Sarah,
Ben!
Yeah.
What's a bad idea?
Oh God,
That poor black guy, man. He picked the wrong expedition.
the wrong tree.
He picked the wrong tree.
He did not hold on to his butt.
Yeah, he didn't. He lost it.
So the next trailer is Avengers Infinity War.
Looks insane, and I am all in.
Hell yeah. I'm excited.
It looks like every fucking insane fucking moment from 90s Thanos crossover comics that I want to see.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like everybody's going to be walking into this movie with this idea in their heads of, every fucking scene is going to be fucking everything going on at once.
That's not it at all.
It's very clear that they're going to be split into groups for the majority. I'm sure that we'll have that big. I'm sure that we'll have that big come together moment, but it'll probably be in the sequel.
It'll probably be in 4. Yeah, no, I'm expecting that to be in 4.
So we're still taking the Infinity War and we're still splitting it across 2 movies, but they're just going to be titled differently.
Well, I think the next one will be Secret Wars, not this one will be Thanos has the Infinity.
No, I hope not, because that's not what Secret Wars is. And I know that they changed shit, but I wanted real Secret Wars.
Well, they could
with the Beyonder
but they could
shit.
bring the Beyonder in. That could be the next thing. Thanos could maybe be maybe he fucking accidentally evokes the Beyonder's wrath, and
I just came
Thanos gets thrown onto the battle world just like the rest of them.
Actually, that actually gives me a fucking brilliant idea. So there's this old episode of Star Trek, right? The one where he fights the Gorn. The whole premise of that is that the Federation is chasing the Gorn, or maybe it was the other way around, and they go into this sector of space that belongs to this like super powerful alien race, and they're like, hey, you can't fight in our backyard. And then they put Captain Kirk and the Gorn captain on that planet, and they're like, fight it out. So like, what if Thanos gets the Infinity Gauntlet, and then the fucking Beyonder fucking puts him and all the heroes on fucking battle ordnance?
I think that would be awesome.
Just fight it, but it's still not the real Secret Wars.
Why not? That's exactly what that was.
Well, no, because it's not just Thanos; it's all the villains, and I guess they could. I don't know.
Well, they could throw in other villains. It could be exactly the same thing.
It's different and scary. I don't know.
No, that sounds good to me. That sounds like exactly what they should do.
Fucking put Madam Web in there, then maybe we'll talk.
They can't just introduce that. That would be weird. I would be down for it, but
you're like, just plop the Beyonder in there. But Madam Web is a bridge.
Oh, that's way easier to explain than Madam Web. The Beyonder, yes, because they just dropped the Beyonder in there in every other fucking story they've dropped him into. But Madam Web is like Spider-Man has to have weird hallucinations first, and then there's a woman.
Maybe he's had weird hallucinations this whole time. Hell, they shoehorned.
That would be awesome. That would be cool. I'd be down for that.
They shoehorned Spider-Man and Black Panther into Civil War, and despite the slight narrative problems that created, why couldn't they shoehorn in Madam Web?
It wasn't as drastic, but
if you're selling me this movie on the premise of everything's fucking in it, then fucking put everything in it, bitch. Don't be complaining to me about how hard it is to write. You signed up for this shit, Marvel. Get some shit in there.
I'm sure they will. But in this one, it looks like because as you said before, they're not going to be together the whole time at all. And what they said,
I think Thor is going to spend either the majority or the entirety of the movie in space.
With the Guardians, yeah. That seems to be the idea. But it feels like, and this is based on something they said early on, the real main character is Thanos, and we're following him as he kind of goes through different parts of the Marvel Universe, doing his different shit, and in those different parts of it, he encounters the different groups of superheroes that are there at the moment. And that's cool to me. And I really like that they're splitting up Hulk and Thor, because, they just had a movie together. And Hulk can come to Earth, Bruce Banner can be like, I just went through some really weird shit on Asgard. Like, you have no idea.
Kate Blanchett was there.
I maybe murdered a bunch of aliens unnecessarily.
And punched a wolf.
Yeah, that happened.
Carl Urban had dual-wield machine guns. It was very bizarre.
It was cool, though. You guys should have been there. It had a great soundtrack.
Oh, it had the best soundtrack. It was top 5 for us, really.
Yeah, listen, you should have... My point is that we have to stop Thanos.
Peak franchise material, and they're like, what are you talking about? What do you mean franchise? The Hulk just turns into Deadpool all of a sudden, and nobody else.
Yeah.
Nobody else knows that they're in a movie.
That would definitely be the way to sell that. I'm interested to see what they do with Hulk, because obviously Bruce Banner is back, which the idea there seems to be Thanos punches him so hard that he de-Hulks, which I like. Because that's what happens to Silver Surfer at the beginning of the Infinity Gauntlet comic, is that he gets punched so hard by Thanos that he de-Silver Surfers, kind of, and he has to go to Doctor Strange for help. Seems to be like the same thing, but with the Hulk. I think that's fun.
Now they talked about giving the Hulk like an arc over the course of 3 movies. And obviously we've already had Thor Ragnarok as the first part of that. What if Thanos fucking hit Bruce Banner so fucking hard that like he damaged his brain and then he couldn't re-Hulk, and then you put him in some sort of a story where he had to re-Hulk in order to save fucking Liv Tyler from something,
It looks more like it might be that they get separated by the Infinity Stones.
Oh yeah, they could do that too.
That would be cool. That might be the only way they could do it in this universe. Because if you do the weird nutrient bat thing, that was dumb in the comics. Use the Infinity Stones.
Yeah, and then they have to do that thing where they have to recombine. And then, maybe they recombine, but something goes wrong in the recombination process, and then we finally get Joe Fixit.
Yeah, we can get the Grey Hulk. That would definitely be the way to do that.
We can have ourselves a Joe Fixit movie.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that sounds awesome.
And bring back the leader, goddammit.
But no, I'm excited. I've been waiting for this big cosmic fucking insanity for years. The Black Panther leading an army against a bunch of fucking Thanos warriors with the Hulk and War Machine and all that, and Captain America. Oof. When I saw that, I was like, fucking, see? That's what I want to see. I want to see more of that. Running at each other. That's what I want to see. Looks great.
I just wish it could have as good of a soundtrack as Thor Ragnarok had, but I already know that's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got the Avengers theme in there, so we know that. Who's doing the soundtrack? The last one was Danny Elfman. That's not happening again.
That's a good question. Did Danny Elfman did Ultron?
He did Age of Ultron, yeah.
Well, he did parts of Ultron. A majority of that soundtrack was, I think, Brian Tyler composed it.
Oh, they worked together on that. Okay.
2 composers on Ultron.
Okay. And then the first Avengers was Alan Silvestri. He did the theme that we still have.
I kind of don't like the theme.
Really?
Gonna admit. Yeah, I really don't.
Wow.
It's kind of generic, isn't it? It's kind of like,
yeah, it's generic. It tries too hard to feel like
It's very these are superheroes and you are to feel whimsical at this moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Alan Silvestri is composing the music for Infinity War. God damn it.
See, I'm down for that. I always liked the Avengers theme, so that sounds good to me. I really like the soundtrack for the first movie, and he did the first Avengers soundtrack, which I like even more. So that sounds good to me. That first Captain America theme is like the best.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get that kind of music in the MCU. That really bombastic horns and everything. Like that's rare.
The only thing I can imagine is just the main Avengers theme.
Well, yeah, but but then all the music in the first Avenger as well, because it's way more throwbacky.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping for kind of kind of a mix of those two things. Maybe some weird space shit. That would be nice because we're probably going to go to space a little bit, but...
Oh, yeah. Gotta love space shit.
I do. I wish I could be there. Like that fucking mannequin in that roadster. I wish that was...
Oh, that's a thing that happened. Another news story.
Yeah, definitely.
If we're finally
a car in space.
If we're finally going into the cosmic side of the Marvel universe, fucking go hard. I want to see fucking. We got teased with the Celestial head in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, and that was cool. But have a fucking Celestial show up and wreck shit. And I'm not talking about that bullshit in Guardians 2 where they were like, "Ego's a Celestial." No, he's fucking not. All right, give me the real goddamn Celestials with the armor and the glowy things and the experiments, and fucking. They got Fox now. Fucking give me Galactus and the Silver Surfer and all that bullshit too. Throw it all in there. Beta Ray Bill. I don't give a fuck. Throw it all in there.
They were going to throw Beta Ray Bill into Thor Ragnarok, but I'm glad they didn't because it would have just been another cameo. So I'm hoping they can do something more with him in like Thor 4 or whatever.
Yeah. Wasn't there an alien who kind of looked like the same species though somewhere?
There was there was a head on. They had a bunch of different heads on the Champion Tower that were
that's
different
right.
There's a man thing, and you had Hulk at the top.
Yeah, okay. I know. I had seen a Beta Ray Bill.
There was one in there that looked like that species, but we can't be sure that it's actually Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah, those weird like horse things that Beta Ray Bill is. Yeah, I knew I had seen some kind of a shout out in there. I just wasn't sure where.
Let's see. Anything else to say about Infinity War? Or should we move on to the last trailer?
No, let's definitely move on.
Why is Black Widow blonde now? No.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
I assume incognito, but
in Africa?
I don't know. Well, I presume she did that before she got to Africa, Andres.
She went to the wrong continent to try and do. She sticks out like a sort of, she could use a little digital blackface.
But I'm sure that'll be. Maybe it won't be addressed. I mean, like I said, she's on the run like she always is. So
should run to the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Also, why does she need a disguise in Wakanda of all places?
I don't know.
Yeah, that country clearly doesn't give a fuck.
Like I said, I don't think she's using the disguise at that point. I think it's just that's what she was in when this happened.
Because T'Challa, that's his name, right? T'Challa. Yeah. He's already fucking harboring the Winter Soldier, so clearly he don't give a fuck. Like, she could just, I don't know.
Like I said, I think that she was in disguise to do other stuff, and then she ended up there. So I don't think she's disguising herself from the Wakandans.
It strikes me as like a fucking a situation kind of like Jennifer Lawrence in the X-Men movies, where she got to where she was too good to wear the Mystique makeup, and so every other scene they're like have her turn back into her blonde form. I feel like that's what's going on here. Scarlett Johansson just didn't want to fucking dye her hair.
Red hair again. Her hair's always been different. It's not like it's the same in every other movie. It's always been different.
But it's always been red.
Yeah, but very different shades. Like if you go back to fucking Iron Man 2, it's way darker.
Yeah, it's also like curly and shit.
Yeah. But the two Avengers movies, it has been consistent, so. I don't know.
Okay. So I guess, are we ready to move on?
I'm thinking.
I have nothing else to add.
That's good.
Think.
All right. Well, David?
I'm going to have to log off because I've been called to work. I forgot to mention that.
Okay.
I thought we would have...
Damn it. Okay. Quick. What are your thoughts on the final trailer for Pacific Rim Uprising? David, go.
I regret watching it because now apparently they revealed that there's
evil Jaegers.
There's people who want to bring back the kaiju, and apparently they're using Jaegers to do that.
Oh,
yes.
I got that sense from all the fucking concepts they were introducing early on.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't even remember that they revealed that, so...
When the evil Black Jaeger that they were fighting in the early trailers.
When there was that one shot in the first trailer of the two Jaegers fighting, I knew it was either going to be evil Jaeger or just like a training simulation. So I was already prepared for one of those two possibilities.
I figured they'd have to go that route anyway.
You can't just have the aliens from the first movie show back up, and like it'd be too. Then it's just Independence Day or Resurgence. Is that what that movie's called?
Yeah. What, David?
What are you gonna say, Dave?
I was gonna say before I leave, this is the one thing I'm excited for.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh God.
That's another dick pic. Oh no. All right.
So
Worse.
yeah, is that ever happening, Bill?
No.
Is this why you've been quiet this whole podcast? You've been making this?
No, actually, somebody made it for me.
Oh, okay.
Did Brayton?
And
Oh, Brayton made that for you. I can tell. It's his style.
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't specifically ask, did you make this? I just accepted it because I wanted to bring it up at some point.
Well, I'm glad that you.
That's a yay or nay on that Balto review.
No.
Then
Listen,
I will.
Why don't we
launch
do a comment?
campaign
We're gonna
to
do a
get you to do it, Bill.
We're gonna do a commentary on it. It'll be even better.
Wait, really?
Listen, we will neither
Sure.
we will neither confirm nor deny the existence of Baltopalooza. All right, it's
No, but if we do it, we'll do it as a commentary on the show. Because I would prefer you be there so you can explain it to me while it's happening.
But Andres is there too. I'm pretty sure he's seen it.
What?
Balto.
Not in like 20 years.
So, Dave, are you telling me you don't want to watch Balto with me? I'm really offended.
I mean, I'll watch it to provide
shook.
context for certain scenes that don't make sense, like the fact that a Russian goose raised Balto.
Goose raises a wolf.
Yeah, apparently that's a backstory in the movie.
Cool.
Makes more sense than a goose raising a panda.
Oh yeah, that's a thing too. It makes more sense than a fucking bunch of apes raising a human.
It's still a better love story than Twilight.
Well, David,
All right, I gotta go now.
Go be
right.
your employer's worst nightmare. Have a good night, man. Thanks for being here.
All right,
Goodbye.
Bye.
Take
Bye,
care.
Sparkles.
Why is he calling you Sparkles now?
I don't know why he does anything.
That's a good.
Bill.
That's a good way to break it down. Yeah, I'm not sure either. But what we are sure of.
I just try not to acknowledge it nowadays.
Yeah, asking Dave why he does anything is like asking Edward Nygma who's Batman. You know.
Do you have that tumor in your
Do you
brain
know-
from Family Guy? But it's Dave.
I'm a tumor. I'm a tumor.
Yeah.
I'm a tumor.
Yep. Also, it's like, for whatever reason, David really liked to put the laughing reaction to all of my posts, even though they're not meant to be funny.
Yeah, I think that's just the way he reacts to life in general, because
I
that's
feel like
every.
like a dark thing happened, and
It's like
Every-
the Joker, where it's like his life sucks so much that he just laughs at it all.
he's like the Joker, except he can't muster up the planning to trap people on boats and have them try to blow each other up.
He's like the Joker, but he can't come up with a joke that actually makes sense. So he just
Can't.
spouts random
But
shit.
his insanity is always captivating, though.
I like how the minute he leaves, we just started talking shit about him. This has now
I'm
become
not talking shit about it. We would have said this if he was here. What are you talking about?
You're right.
This is truth. Truth.
Truth.
Hashtag truth.
Yeah.
We are truth.
We are if we try really hard.
Mm-hmm. Well, anyways, do you guys have thoughts on the Pacific Rim trailer?
I haven't watched it.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you did. I thought we talked about it one night.
I watched the original Pacific Rim trailer. I haven't watched the newest one.
So this is the one with the fucking Avas shooting the lasers into the rift, right?
Right. And I think Joseph Vizina pointed out that those like Jaegers might be Jaeger Kaiju hybrids.
Oh, they definitely are. Yeah. And
Yeah,
I think
so-
that's a cool as fuck idea. I'm excited about that.
So now we're
Yeah,
going full Evangelion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to be honest, that was an idea that Del Toro pitched right after like Pacific Rim the first movie came out. As soon as it came out, he's like, I want to do the kaiju robot hybrids.
And they were like,
but first
"Brilliant."
But first I need to make a movie where a woman fucks a fish man.
That's why he couldn't have the robots fight. They were like, Guillermo, do you want to direct? He's like, no, I want to have sweet, sexy intercourse with fishmen. What?
What's really interesting is that Andres
I want my actors to have sweet,
That's
sexy.
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
What's really interesting is that Andres' Guillermo impression sounds like fucking Denis Villeneuve. Like, it sounds French. Like, I want to do the Jaeger hybrid. Oh, ho, ho. Like, it's...
I can't do a Mexican accent to save my life.
Which is bizarre.
Yeah, it's rather...
My voice is too whitewashed for that.
Been wrung out like a bleached
if I try to do a Mexican accent, I can only do like Cholo or something.
That's really interesting.
Because everybody could do that.
That's really interesting because that's like the one accent that every white person can do. You know, it's so easy. You know, you just channel your inner laziness and you.
See,
he said it, not me. No. Oh, that's great. White.
Also, have you actually listened to his voice? He kind of talks like some weird like Spanish French man.
I have no idea where that. I have no idea where that man is from. He's
from
weird.
Mexico, but he looks
the depths
super,
of the Amazon.
Looks super Spanish. He looks whiter than me.
Did you see him do the ALS ice bucket challenge back in the day? That was some.
No.
Yeah, he got drenched. It was pretty.
Well, I mean, there are white people in Mexico because Louis C.K. is actually Mexican. Fun fact.
Maybe he comes from like a line of Irish men who moved to the wrong part of North America.
A bunch of Ireland crash landed in Mexico and fucked a bunch of Mexican women.
His is a very interesting story. So his grandfather was a Hungarian Jew who moved to Mexico because they weren't letting anybody into America at the time.
Right.
And fucking so his dad is Mexican, but like he got the whiteness from I guess the other side of the family, but his dad is like super Mexican. And it's very confusing. Like he grew up the first 8 years of his life only speaking Spanish, and then they moved to America, and now he's like lost most of his Spanish, which is fascinating to me. But he can still like speak it a little bit.
Like when he does the Spanish.
I moved to America, and here I am today.
When he does the Mexican accent on stage, it sounds like really, like a white guy trying to do an approximation,
Yeah, but
it's clearly intentional.
You can listen to old clips of the Opie and Anthony show before Patrice O'Neill died, where like they'll be talking about white people, and Louis C.K. will be like, and we do this, and Patrice O'Neill's like, why are you saying we? You are Mexican.
I don't particularly see myself as Mexican at all.
Like Tom Segura is Spanish. I didn't know that until this last.
Really?
Special. Yeah, he talks about that in his most recent special. It's interesting.
By the way, what was
he's actually from Spain?
I don't remember if he specifically is from Spain, but like I think his parents definitely are. But yeah, he's like, people don't realize.
Segura, sure.
Yeah, but he can like do a perfect Spanish. He speaks fluent Spanish.
He does it in the fucking special. He's like, hey.
That's your example. No, but have you watched his most recent special though? He does like a whole little.
No, I haven't yet. I probably will as soon as we end this.
His special, that too. His Spanish is like freakishly good. Like he didn't lose it the way CK did. He clearly kept up his practice and like fucking just. He can fucking throw it down. It's crazy. I never would have pegged him for a.
I never would peg him either. That sounds pleasant.
I never would have pegged him for a dirty savage. I know. No, he's Spanish. He's like white Spanish. It's fine.
It's a good kind. He's the good guy.
He's like Zorro.
He is not a native. He is a conquistador.
He fucked a lot of them though. Anyway.
What were we talking about? Oh, yeah, Pacific Rim.
Rim, yeah.
It
Pac Rim
looks
2.
Fun.
Yep.
John Boyega's voice is good. He sounds a little bit like Idris Elba, I guess.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to know is because every other character is back, which is cool. Is Charlie Hunnam dead? Is he living in the Amazon? Like,
do we really care?
I would like to know. Yeah.
Is he retired? Is he too old for this shit?
It's been like 10 years.
But in Jaeger pilot years, that's got to be fun.
Well, if he has the radiation sickness, that'd be awesome, but that wouldn't make any sense because the whole explanation for that was because Pentecost was like using old shit.
Because I imagine that fucking drift shit that they do that's got to be fucking bad for you.
I would imagine that surviving a nuclear explosion and then the entire ocean erupting up and then coming back down around you might impact a man. Huh? That was the wildest shit in that movie. You have like goblin sharks and shit at the bottom of the ocean, just like without water, and then just like miles and miles of ocean just come crashing down on that robot. It's like, what? How is it not?
Danger went through like a shit ton of abuse.
How does that thing not pancake? Like, Jesus.
I'm more interested in whatever happened to Rinko Kiguchi. Is that her name? Rinko?
Rinko. Yeah, that was her name.
Well, she's in it, isn't she? She's coming back.
Yeah, she's coming back. Yeah.
Okay. I want to know what the fuck happened to her.
Everybody else is there. Charlie Day's there. The other guy's there.
Oh,
the Australian kid's there for some reason.
I want to know why she has this.
Oh no, he's dead. No, the dad.
Yeah.
I want to know why she has this adoptive brother that we never got mentioned before. Like, what's that all about? How are they gonna? Oh yeah, I have.
Why don't they like each other? Like,
do they not? Is that established?
Yeah, that seems to be the idea.
Okay, well,
it seems like he always pushed her, and he just kind of was like, "Yeah, you do whatever."
So interesting.
Yeah, which I kind of like. I like that conceptually.
You think he's going to be kind of a dick? Because that would be great. Because it's like the opposite of what he does with Finn. He's trying to be so likable when he plays Finn.
Doesn't seem so. He seems to be kind of like his dad, but younger. His dad was a little bit of a dick, I guess.
That doesn't scream sequelitis at all.
I don't know. It's like they're making
younger.
They feel like they're making you feel like Pentecost was the main character of the last movie, even though he wasn't. But they're trying to market it that way.
But he was kind of the standout, and he was the one that everybody remembers.
Yeah, of course. I'm with you 100%. And everybody remembers him from the marketing campaign. But
everybody remembers his speech at the end, which is second only to President Pullman's speech.
Damn right.
This it looks like a fun time. The monster designs are my big problem. They don't look good.
I wonder if
really? I thought they looked great.
There's a few that are fine. Like the one that attacks the pier is good. The rest of them just look like nothing. They look they look like things that Powerpuff Girls would fight in the background of an episode, not even the main thing.
Well, I guess they're only there just so they can combine into a super kaiju, and I think this is only. I feel like that is only going to be like the first or second act of the movie.
That's cool.
That I'm very excited for. Kaiju combining into a super kaiju.
That's
that's something you don't see as often. That's much rare.
That's something that we like from like Godzilla video games from the '90s that we've never seen in movies.
There've been like
Fusion Ha.
There've been like Ultraman kaiju who have done that shit. I think, but like it's
like
super rare.
Like Zeton, what was it? Is Zeton Pandon, the fusion of those two guys?
Yeah, or what's that one giant monster from one of the movies that's just like
Giga Chimera.
Yeah, and he's just like a bunch of kaiju corpses basically stuck together.
That's it's like a Frankenstein of kaiju.
Yeah.
Oh, but before Giga Chimera, there was another one where Ultraman Belial got 100 monsters together to form a big body.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. But yeah, kaiju fusions. They've been a thing in Ultraman and finally going to be a thing in the movies.
Yeah, they're very rare. It's not like combiner robots where it happens there all the fucking time. This is super rare. And
that's what I'm saying. Is like it's a nice twist on that. I am also excited about the Jaeger kaiju hybrids. Like we said, it's Evangelion, but that's cool. I'm fine with that. That's interesting, and I always liked that about Evangelion is that they weren't really robots; they were bioengineered beings. Yeah.
They
were biological robots in a sense.
Absolutely.
What else though? What are you guys excited they brought back Charlie Day and the other guy, or you're like, I could have done without them? I really liked them from the last one. That's another thing that gave.
I really enjoyed them.
So yeah, I'm excited about that too.
Ron Perlman's coming back, right? You can't not.
You would hope so, but that's not confirmed. No. If anything, that'll be a cameo.
he survived the fucking end credit scene.
Yeah, so you would think that they would do that. Where's my fucking shoe?
Yeah, put him in the damn movie.
Yeah, they should. Like
I've seen him.
Yeah, but I don't want to see that in the trailer though, Dylan. I'd like that to be a surprise when it happens in the movie theater.
I've seen that character become something of a meme as of late, and I'm very happy with that.
Yeah, I think that'll be a nice surprise in the theater. If he turned out to be the villain, that would be fucking wild.
That would be wild.
I wouldn't be opposed to it though.
I mean, he's not a super great guy in the first movie.
No,
really.
but he's not really. He doesn't have machinations of world domination, though. He has machinations of having lots of money.
Yeah, it's true. I don't think he should be the bad guy in this movie.
No, it would be like a Ludlow revealing himself to be like this, like fucking maniacal Jurassic Park fucking Blofeld. It would be like that.
You know what it would be? As much as I was praising the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show earlier, it would be that moment where you realize that the Shredder is an alien.
Yeah, I never liked that. Never liked that. But Andres, do you have any other thoughts? I'm asking you.
Let's see. I don't think so, because all I want is some kick-ass monster robot action, and it looks like that's exactly what I'm going to get.
Word.
I couldn't ask for more.
If it didn't
I'm a man
have
of simple needs.
If it didn't have that would be a big problem.
Yes, it would be.
If it was like a weird existential, like it's Charlie Hunnam in therapy, and he's talking about the time that miles of ocean fell on him.
Mm-hmm.
It was fucking crazy, man. There was so much water.
He could feel it because he's in the drift.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fish there.
Yeah, there was a goblin shark. It was wild shit. I saw a giant squid without water on it, but like at the bottom of the ocean. It was so crazy. Anyway, so I can't pay you because
I have no money.
I didn't get insurance. But I can tell you some kick-ass Jaeger stories.
This is probably fraudulent what I'm doing.
Yeah. Listen, realistically, we shouldn't have made this movie, but you know what? It's a little late now.
There's no turning back.
We can't turn it off. Anyway, so Andres, what else do you have for us this evening?
That I have nothing else, although I do have one thing to talk about, and that involves our good friend Chris Martinez. I'm not sure if we talked about him in our review for Godzilla Planet of the Monsters, but it's okay if
we recorded that beforehand. But yeah, no, man, definitely.
Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk about is to give a little shout out to my big shout out to my friend our friend Chris Martinez.
Absolutely, longtime friend of the show and contributor. He does the theme song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he and his band, the Alder Kings. So if you are familiar with my channel, you probably know him. He's been on the Show Watch podcast a couple of times. He will be in the next episode, actually, talking about the future of his comic book series, Fire Beast Oregon, given the recent developments, because he recently announced that he has been diagnosed with colon cancer, and that in order to help pay for his medical bills with the radiation treatments and the chemotherapy, he is planning on, accepting all forms of commissions in terms of his art. And if anyone who is aware of Christopher Martinez's art, he's kind of got that Mike Mignola, if he was a kaiju fan, sort of art style going on. And if you want to support him, you can contact him through Facebook at Chris Martinez, or you can check him out, contact him through his email address, which is gappa23@gmail.com, which is lowercase GAPPA23@gmail.com. And you can also check out his website. Let's see. Let me just try to see if I can find the address here. Oh, yeah, christophermartinez.wixsite.com/thecmartinez. So you can check him out there if you want to see like his back catalog of art. You can check out my reviews for Fire Beast, Night of the Fire Beast, and Fire Beast Oregon, Excagaram, the Horror from Space, if you want to check out what sort of art he does. Also, you can check out the Primal Warrior Draco Azul Facebook page, and there you can also find the two pieces of art that I shared from him, one featuring Matt Denion's Chimera versus
Chris Martinez's Triceras, and another piece featuring his take on Draco Azul, which he made for me last Christmas. And you can also look forward to seeing a new take of his new take on Draco Azul, in which he will do Matt Denyon and I both commissioned him to do a Draco Azul Steel Samurai team-up piece. Steel Samurai being like the Jaeger-esque giant robot from Matt Denyon's most popular book, Atomic Rex.
All of that sounds awesome in wake of a really unfortunate and tragic occurrence. Chris Martinez is not only a really talented guy artistically and musically, but he's also just like, man, like, he's just the nicest guy. Like, we hung out in that dude's backyard. Like, you know, we did a live stream at his house. Like, we drank alcohol there. Like, you mean, that is a really heavy and hard hit. But the fact that he's, you know, taking it in such good spirits and continuing his art above all else, I mean, it's inspiring. So, you know, definitely sending all of our good vibes and support to him, of course, and I'm sure all the listeners do as well. But like I said, it's just very inspiring to hear him in those kinds of spirits about it.
Yes. And although, you know, cancer is just one of those things that we have yet to find a definitive cure for, there are, you know, many chances of people going on, like, long after, you know, being fortunate enough to have their lives extended after, you know, putting cancer into submission, like put it on hold, and we can only hope for the best with Chris then. Absolutely. Here in this case,
just sending good vibes and love and support and best hopes and wishes.
Absolutely.
It's a really hard, horrible thing. Ugh. But like I said, man, we're here to support him, and like I said, he's there to inspire us to continue to power on if he can. So definitely not the lightest way to end off this return of the Sons of Serizawa podcast, but Chris is a big contributor and a big friend of the show, so definitely had to give him a shout out. So thanks for doing that, Andres.
You're welcome.
So otherwise, though, Andres, is there anything you wanted to announce for your channel aside from Chris's appearance on Shoe Watch coming up?
Let's see. In recent weeks, Matt Denyon and I have been doing a series of podcast-style reviews covering the entire history of Godzilla in animation, at least to the best of our extent. We recently did, as of this recording, we've put out episodes where we did a commentary for Godzilla, for Superman and the Max Fleischer Superman short, The Arctic Giant. We did commentary for Godzilla, Bambi Meets Godzilla. Then we did reviews for the Hanna-Barbera Godzilla, Godzillaland, Godzilla the series, and Shin-Chan versus Shin Godzilla. And so all that's left for that retrospective is our spoiler review for Godzilla Planet of the Monsters, where we get really into like the nitty gritty with that movie. Other than that, we also recorded our next film noir review, which is the, I believe, 1945 movie Detour. Yes, 1945. Let's see. And let's see. Like you mentioned before, there is the upcoming Shoe Watch episode. And on top of that, I have a special video I'm planning for the to celebrate reaching 3,000 subscribers on my channel last month. So it's going to be a big project, and I've already got the art covered thanks to my friend Winter Gaia, Raptor Gear, aka Winter Gaia on DeviantArt. And all that's left would just me needing to script the video so that, and then hopefully our friend Brayton can help me edit the video. But I just haven't been able to get to scripting because there's been so much other shit I've been doing, like both YouTube-wise, work-wise, and even editing-wise, helping out another friend with a light novel that he is working on.
All sounds good, man.
But, yeah.
You sound busy. And your voice sounds better, too. You feeling better?
Kind of, but I don't know. Maybe it's the thing is I'm very scared right now. I'm really hoping I'm not coming down with the flu because usually like the throat is like the first thing to go.
I feel you. Well, don't give in to fear. That'll be the end. But
the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
But as always, be afraid of the Sons of Serizawa Network homepage on Facebook to get all of those things that Andres just said to you and everything else that we do. Links to everything will be there. But check down in the description for any and all things that can send you to places where you can follow our stuff.
We already announced this in the most recent episode of DFOS that we've recorded, which isn't up yet, but it'll probably go up before this. But coming in March on DFOS, we're going to be doing Samurai Month. It's going to be a whole samurai-themed month of reviews. I'm very excited. So be on the lookout for that. That's March.
And the only other thing I want to announce is just what we're planning to do on next week's episode. Well, not next week, the following episode of the Sons of Serizawa podcast. We're sticking with the bi-weekly schedule, of course. We may be recording this on a different day, but that's not going to affect you at all. So, next time, because we did all news this week, we're going to take a little break from what's going on in the modern world, and we're going to do a full cryptid episode. We're going back to Bigfoot, baby. Oh, yeah, we're going deep into the woods. We're going to hang out. We're going to share onions with him. It's going to be great. That'll make sense next week. Trust me. We're going to play a game. We're going to do a commentary. It's going to be Sasquatchalicious. So I hope you'll join us. As hopefully David will for the majority of that episode. Unlike this time where he had to duck out and go fucking murder people in a back alley or whatever he does for a living. So we'll have to see though. So I hope you'll join us as we continue, as I said at the start, crawling onward. Until then, though, I'm Bill Worster, a.k.a. Zazubaar. He was David Joshua Hernandez, a.k.a. Gorozard.
I'm Super DM64.
And I'm Andres Perez, a.k.a. Kaiju Noir. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly the way it's been.
But it doesn't have to be. Work harder. Fight smarter. Fucking recycle. Have a good night, everyone. The science is sound.
Fight the power.
What?